The Constitution is a document written by a group of men in 1787. It is over 200 years old. We actually have old copies of the document they created. The master copies are stored at the National Archives in Washington, D.C. In 2003, the rotunda where the Constitution is displayed was rebuilt, and anyone can go and see the actual Constitution. We also have pictures of the Constitution that you can look for on any site that you look up on Google. From May to September in 1787, the men known as the Framers met in Philadelphia and discussed what should be in the Constitution. The United States was a brand new country at the time and had a government that many felt was not as good as it could be. They were meeting to come up with a new way of running the country. Some of the people at this meeting, called the Convention, are famous to us today, including James Madison, Benjamin Franklin, and George Washington. The men came from all over the country, which at the time was made up of only 13 states. The different states had different ideas of what the new government should do, and they had many debates and discussions to come up with a plan that everyone could agree with. It is said that the Constitution was born in compromise, because only by compromising could all of the disagreements be resolved. Benjamin Franklin said that he was not sure if the plan was perfect, but it was probably as perfect as it could be. After the convention ended, the Constitution had to be approved by the 13 states. The Constitution actually said that the only 9 states had to agree with the Constitution, but everyone wanted all of the states to agree. 2 states, North Carolina and Rhode Island, took a long time to decide to agree with the Constitution, but in the end, they agreed. When the Constitution was accepted by these first 9 states, we say that it was ratified. New Hampshire was the 9th states to ratify. When the Constitution was written, the framers knew the creation was not perfect. They knew that other people would have good ideas for the Constitution. The future generations would make those changes. They wanted to make it possible to change the Constitution without needing to resort to revolution. They wanted to be sure that it wasn't too hard to make changes, but they also wanted to be sure that it wasn't too easy. The framers added an amendment process. An amendment to the Constitution is a change that can add the Constitution or change an older part of it. An amendment can even overturn a previous amendment, as the 21st did to the 18th. There are a few methods to amend the Constitution, but the most common is to pass an amendment through the Congress on a 2/3 vote. After that, the amendment goes to the states, and if 3/4 of the state pass the amendment, it is considered a part of the Constitution. It has been ratified. One of the biggest reasons a lot of people opposed the original Constitution was because it lacked a Bill of Rights. A Bill of Rights is a list of rights that belong to the people and that the government is not allowed to break. Some of these rights might sound familiar: the right of free speech, the right to practice your own religion, and the right to be silent if the police accuse you of a crime. The original Constitution has no Bill of Rights. Many of the framers did not think it was necessary. But to get the Constitution to pass in some of the states, promises were made to add a Bill of Rights once the new government was up and running. After the new government started to meet, Congress proposed the Bill of Rights. A list of 12 changes was sent to the states, and a few years later, in 1791, 10 of those changes were accepted by enough of the states that they were added to the Constitution. These 10 changes are called the Bill of Rights. Other changes to the Constitution are discussed below. The last change to the Constitution was made in 1992. The 27th Amendment is actually one of the 2 leftover amendments from 1791. It is very unusual for an amendment to take that long to be accepted, but it is possible. Some, like the 26th Amendment, are accepted very quickly, in just 100 days. Most, though, take a little over a year to be ratified.